So, what's up, everyone? Pain Freak, the Freak Chef, with another awesome recipe for you. I was out today. I had to get a bolt for the new stand that came for the overhead shotgun mic, and so hopefully everything's still working and staying up. So I'm excited about. And I figured let me go into the food store, see what they have at the meat counter, because why not? Why not look at some crazy barefoot shirtless guy chains and all that pure stuff with the mohawk in like 18-degree weather, and we're about to have another snowstorm, or it's going to get really cold. I think it was down at 3 this morning. So these are awesome recipes that I've been doing lately that use the slow cooker to use, and it's awesome just hanging out, getting a lot done. And I have a Greek beef stew recipe for you, and this is good enough for authentic Greeks from Athens when they came to visit many years ago, and I'm excited to show you how to do it now. So start our meat. So they didn't have the chuck roast that I normally get to break down, but I figured they had enough stew meat, and that's exactly what I'm doing anyway. So I made sure to ask them if their stew meat is cut from the chuck or the round, and they did confirm it was cut from the chuck. So I'm excited. That's what I would have done anyway. But sometimes I notice that some places they'll cut it from portions of the round. I don't know why. Round is a much better stick for something else. But anyway, we're going to start by getting this. Oh yeah, that's definitely cut from the chuck. Alright. Not that I really doubt my wonderful meat people at my meat market that I normally go to, but you never know. They go some new people once in a while. We want to give these a coat of flour. And I'm just going to use the bag that it came in. We don't want too much. It calls for about 3 tablespoons. So I'm just going to give that a toss. And we've had our pan heating up on medium high. And geez. I'm just cooking for myself and a friend of mine, so not like I'm cooking for a major event for a lot of people, so I'm probably going to go light on the gloves today. You know, I just got another 4 boxes in, which is very exciting. I was in desperate need of them. I still have some of the pink gloves left from over the holidays, but glad to kind of be back in some normal gloves. We get the pan hot with our olive oil, and then we're going to add the meat to it. While we're waiting for that to get hot, I'm going to go ahead and we just want to cut our onion into rough wedges. And this is a white onion, so you want 1 medium onion, 2 small onions, however you want to work it out. But I just like to cut them into some of these wedges just like this. And those are ready. And our oil's nice and liquidy and moves just like that. That means that our oil is hot enough. And we're going to go ahead and add our meat to the oil. I always like to pinch the opening of the bag, get the meat where I want it, and then slowly drop it in the pan, especially if I'm using hot oil. So it slowly introduces itself in there, and it doesn't splatter all over the place. So we want to spread this in the pan, get it all, brown it evenly on both sides, just for a couple minutes. And you can do this if you don't have a slow cooker and you have a big pot you're going to be doing the stew in. You can just do it right in the pot. I'm using a separate frying pan before I add it into a slow cooker because I really want a nice sear on the outside of the meat. Get it nice and brown before I add it to the slow cooker. And the slow cooker just doesn't have the temperature to do what I need it to do. Okay, so this is really starting to brown really well. I think we're ready to introduce the onions into this now, because the beef is going to keep browning even with the onions in the pan. So our onion wedges, again, 1 medium onion to our 1 pound of stew meat. It's actually just a little over a pound. They didn't really have a lot left, so I just took what they had and I said that looks about right. So it's about almost 1.25 pounds, but And we're going to hit that with a little bit of salt, especially on the onions. Help get those sweated out. Also help season the meat a little bit. We're just going to let this kind of sit there and let the onions kind of absorb the heat and sweat out just a little bit while the meat continues to brown. And we're going to take I'll move this out of the way, 3 teaspoons of water. I heated it up in the slow cooker when I went to the store. We're going to add our 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste. And our little trick, cut almost all the way around on the bottom, turn it over, cut all the way around, go ahead and push it out. And yes, I do wash the lids off and the outside of the can when I do that with the tomato paste. Alright, 3 tablespoons of lime juice. You can use fresh lime, or for this, lime juice is fine. So about 1, 2, 3. We need 3/4 cup of dry red wine. I played around with different wines. I actually like the Merlot. Adds a different profile to the sauce. And about 3/4 cup. So we're at a cup now with everything in there. We're going to go to that 3/4 mark and hope we have a little left over for us to drink while we're cooking. Oh, look at that. That's perfect. And we have a little sip for ourselves. I like those little bottles because I don't drink a lot of wine. Alright, then we have some of our dry seasoning. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and 1 teaspoon, I'm using dried minced garlic. We're going to get all that in there. And we're going to mix it up well. And that's ready to go. So that gives us almost about 2 cups of liquid to add to this once the meat is ready. We'll check back with our onions and our beef here. Give them another turn. Oh, it's smelling amazing. And for the past hour or so, I had some water warming up in here. Obviously, it's empty now. I use the water I need for the sauce here, liquid mixture. I have this on high so that it's hot and ready. I'm not dropping hot ingredients into a cold pot to then have to reheat again. This really just gets the cooking going right from the start. I'm happy with this. I think this is ready to add. So we're going to go ahead and just dump this right into our slow cooker pot. And I always add the solid ingredients first before the liquid so it doesn't splatter the liquid all over the place. What I may do, I may take some of this liquid and reduce this pan just a little bit. I'll go ahead and use a little bit of the wine. So we're just going to bring this up to high real quick. Put some of that on. A spoon, let that heat up. And we'll pull all the juicy goodness off the bottom of the pan. And it makes it a hell of a lot easier to clean later too. Look at that. We'll just go ahead and drop that all in here. Okay, that's done. Kill our heat. There's some leftovers for later, that's okay. I know someone's going to love to drink that. And we have our liquid mixture that we made. That's going in. This a little bit of a stir, get it all incorporated, mix it all together just like that. And this is set on high. This is going to go for about I'm going to say about 4 hours. I don't want the meat to start falling apart and breaking apart so that it's just nothing but stringy meat. I still want a nice stew type chunk of meat, so we don't want to let it go too long to the point where the meat's falling apart. We got some cleanup to do, and oh, I'm not worried about it getting too acidic now that I added some extra wine. And even with the wine from the beginning, you would think it would toughen the meat. That's not going to be the case. It's going to slow cook, and about 15 minutes before we're going to pull it out, I'm going to add some sugar, and that's going to help break down some of the acidity, and you'll see when we get to that point. All right, got some cleanup to do, and we're going to serve this over a bed of orzo, so we're also going to get that made too. All right, so we're almost done with our Greek beef stew. I'm very excited about. And one thing I did after I started this slow cooker part is I put a ladle in the freezer. Now, you can do this with a metal ladle and ice cubes, but if you open up this pot right here, I'm going to try to keep the steam off the overhead camera so it doesn't fog up. Just so you guys can really see this, you'll see all this fat that separates from the meat, and just from some of the cooking oil and all that kind of settles on the top. We're going to take our cold spoon, our ladle, we're going to dip it right in there, and instead of skimming the fat off the top, which will typically take a lot of the sauce out with it, look at that. All that fat just sticks to the cold spoon, and it almost solidifies. And just give that a rinse. And if you want, you can do it with some ice cubes too. We're just going to keep getting some of that fat out of that pot that sits on the front or on the top. And instead of skimming it and losing some of the sauce and all that, we're just separating that fat from the sauce. So, hope this helps. Quick little kitchen hack. And we're going to add some sugar to this next and get our orzo going. All right, so our beef stew is almost done, and we got maybe about 15 minutes left to go. I'm bringing up this water to a boil. We're going to drop our orzo in, and we are going to add our sugar now. So we skimmed quite a bit of fat off this, which is very exciting. And at this point, I just want like maybe about a tablespoon, given how much we have, because we just want to cut down some of the acidity in there. I'm just using this cup so I don't get like moisture from the pot up into the container. So we're just going to drop about a tablespoon. Actually, this is a little over a tablespoon, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and stir that in, because this is the last part of our Greek beef stew. And we just need to let that set for about 10 to 15 minutes. In the meantime, our water is up to a boil now. There we go. In the meantime, our water is coming up to a boil, and I'm going to do just a little under a cup of our orzo. So I have about 3 cups water in there. I'm going to go just under a cup to make sure we get plenty of room. Actually, we'll just go a whole cup, why not? And once that comes to a boil, this is salted water. It's our, just like I said, about 3 cups water, 1 cup orzo. That should be fine. Looks like it's coming up to a nice boil. We're going to kick that heat up even higher just to make sure it keeps going. We're going to cover this up because this has to get happy with that sugar. The sugar is going to start dissolving into that sauce with the tomato paste and the wine and all the seasonings and stuff. And it's going to cut down the acidity in it and just make it taste better. So our water's up to a boil now. We're going to go ahead and drop our orzo in there. And I have a strainer ready to go for when it's done. Now, I'm not using the regular colander type strainer. I'm using a very fine mesh strainer. The same thing I use to rinse rice and a bunch of other stuff. Only because this is a lot finer. If I use a regular colander, the holes sometimes are a little too big and the orzo just starts seeping out of it once it's done. So I just like to drain it in batches with one of these. So I have that ready. And we're going to check back with this in about 5 to 8 minutes is all that should take. And I can't wait for you guys to see this. Hell yeah. Fuck my shit. Alright, so our Greek beef stew is done. Our orzo is all ready. We're going to drain that out. And I'm going to get it off the burner first. And look, I'm excited about. Look, we drained all that fat off. Look at how awesome that looks. Oh my god. Oh, I can't wait. Back out of the way. We're going to get a nice plate ready. And we had a nice good mix of water to pasta. And it doesn't really seem like there's much draining needed. So I just tested it and it is absolutely perfect. So not a lot of water coming out. Look at that. It's almost like making rice. If you know what you're doing with orzo, you'll get this. And we're just going to layer down some orzo. Just like that. A little more. Look at that. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. We'll get that spread it on the plate. We'll get some of our beef stew on there. Just like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, if I had some fresh parsley, I bet that would be awesome. I'm going to get a little spoon though. I want to get just a little extra sauce out of here. Just to kind of give it a nice thing. Oh, we got some awesome feta cheese. And it's nice and crumpled. We'll go ahead and just drop some of that right on the top. Just like that. Okay, guys. I'm very excited. I want to take an awesome picture of this to share in my cookbook. So, I'm off the photography table. And if you want me to cook for your awesome fucking private party, and you want Pain Freak Chef to cook for you, whether it's your erotic, whatever it is, fetish party, whatever, Pain Freak the Freak Chef. So make sure that you check out my website, painfreakofficial.com, and click on the Freak Chef link and figure out how to contact me. It's all there. You can also reach out to me on my social, and please follow my new Freak Chef channel and check out the cookbook that's coming out soon if it hasn't come out already by the time you're watching this video. Love you guys.